Am I
There you go.
muted? There we
I
are.
think, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's funny. I just told Jimmy at the start of the show he might need to unmute. Need to
Yeah.
do it myself. So backing up here, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the first episode of our Whale and Buildtree artist series, where we focus on artists who are utilizing Buildtree's tools. They've built an incredible suite of tools to help on-chain creators of all types, primarily visual artists, I would say, who are utilizing the blockchain to not only further their own art, but also build new audiences, expand their reach, and just innovate in general. So it's great to have Jimi Grins here, all the way from New Zealand.
I guess.
Big big time difference here between New York and New Zealand, but it's great that we were able to
Oh,
sync
yeah.
up. And I know that many people here in the whale community are actually familiar with your work through various projects, and you've been around in the digital art space here for a little while. But could you go ahead and just start from the beginning, because I know you come out of physical art, very much
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
It'd be great to just kind of know more about your physical art and that kind of journey into the art world, from a young age perhaps, and then what really brought you into the digital space.
Yeah, sure. So I first got into fine art when I was 18. I started painting, basically. I put my first piece in a gallery, and I sold it. So that was my first time I tried to sell art. I sold my first piece. It was a very, very detailed piece. It took me a long time. And I remember specifically the situation was really interesting because the gallery owner wanted me to put it in for cheaper. He was like, "Oh, put it in for a couple $100s." And I was like, nah, I want to put it in for more. And it ended up selling. And I was like, gotcha. Proved you wrong, man. So that's how I got into fine art. And then I just kept painting. While I was in university, I was studying product design. I kept painting, and I kept making art all the way up until about 2018, 2019, I think, was when I first started to get into the NFT space, because I had made a toy. So I made a designer toy. I don't know if anybody knows anybody knows Cause. He makes designer toys. And a whole bunch of art stuff. So I was really inspired by Cause, and I made my own toy. So I designed him. Here it is here, yeah.
Here, I'll pull it up right here.
Yeah, right there. So I made this toy. I had to basically spend all my money getting it produced over in China. And so I got that toy made. I got it shipped over here, about 100 of them, sent them to a few different galleries and toy distribution companies. And so after I did that went okay. I sold a few of them here and there. That went all right. And after I did that, I had that toy on Fiverr.
Okay.
And Leandro from NFT Studios, now Buildtree, he saw the toy, and he was like, "Oh, can you make us a toy?" And then that was how I got into working with NFT Studios, now Buildtree. And it just went from there. I worked on a project of theirs, Rare Gotchi, which, I mean, it's still there. It is a really cool project. Unfortunately, we had just a series of events that just were so detrimental to the project. People came and promised things that didn't eventuate. We lost a huge amount of funding in the FTX collapse. So it just it was really unfortunate, because it is a really cool project. The art is on point. I mean, it's still there. I could still do something with it. Maybe I'll do something with it at a later date. I mean, if I can.
Here's a Rare Gotchi right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's all, it's all the breeding is set up and everything, like all the different traits. It can be worked on. We just lost the funding and the right people, and it just kind of lost momentum. So I decided to do my own thing, which brought me to Cards of Culture. Mm.
Right. And so, um, I'm curious, what you saw was the real kind of appeal to go from physical work, the toys into digital work. Was there a particular um,
Well, I
tool
was,
or yeah?
I was, um, I was freelancing doing digital artwork for, anybody who wanted me to. Basically, they would come to me on Instagram, and I was posting a lot of digital art back back in the day, and people would come to me and be like, "Can you design me a graphic for a T-shirt or
Hmm,
you know whatever album artwork?" So I was doing digital art like that.
sure.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it just kind of segued from there into digital, the NFT space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And did you? I guess a lot of us come here to the NFT space for this, you know, um, digital ownership. The blockchain kind of being an immutable ledger
Hmm.
that doesn't have global boundaries, and certainly a lot of us were also looking at the space as this opportunity for artists to be paid, accurately and get royalties and all this kind of stuff. Was that a big
Mm.
influence for you? Any of those things really
At
like?
the start, I didn't really realize all of that because I wasn't in the NFT space. I was just doing digital art and designing toys and painting
Hmm,
fine art.
yeah,
And then NFT studios brought me on board, and I was like, okay, it's another gig, and I kind of had to slowly learn about NFTs and more about Web3 and stuff as I was doing that job. So it
got
kind of
it.
just like naturally just it just flowed into it, and then I just was like, oh, and then I realized, oh, you can make royalties and all the benefits. I realized that after the fact, it wasn't the initial pull. I just kind of happened to move into that space
Right.
because that's where my
Okay.
work led me. Yeah. Mm.
Um, and was there like an epiphany moment? Like all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, this is kind of the step I need to do, or did it just
Um,
really just feel natural, like, and you just kind of found yourself there?
not so much an epiphany moment because it was gradual. It was
Hmm,
me slowly learning about the technology because I don't have a background in technology, so I had to slowly learn about Web3, reading books, and slowly realizing how powerful crypto Web3 NFT technology actually is. Reading about Bitcoin, going from, oh, it's a just like a weird thing on the internet to, oh, it's a really powerful tool, and I can actually make a full time living a full time living off of it, and just getting paid in crypto, and transitioning from all of that from just being working a regular job, getting paid regular money.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is even possible? It was a slow process of morphing into that. Yeah, it's yeah.
But you also do seem to have this native, what we would call natively digital background here, that you've been uh, creating, like you said, as a product manager, doing design for other things.
Mhm.
um, you know it seems like you're able to jump in very easily, but at the same
Mm,
time, you're describing kind of the journey that a lot of us hear
mhm,
about on a regular basis, this kind of learning curve to get in,
mm,
and to actually get involved is sometimes much harder than you know it
mm.
seems. And obviously you're a physical artist. We're seeing here some videos of you
Yeah.
creating here, but you know maybe you've been lucky. Do you feel like that kind of background as a product designer broke down a lot of these barriers, or do you really think it was still just as difficult as most artists find getting in to
Uh,
NFTs?
I mean, I'm a very open-minded type of person, and I'm an avid learner. So when I see something interesting, I'll just learn as much. I'll read about it. I'll learn it. I'll study it. As much as I can. Um, and because of that, I was able to. move into it pretty easily. I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
And are you
a fun process. I wasn't like, it wasn't me struggling. It was me
sure?
enjoying the process. Yeah. Meeting a lot of cool people. I was very lucky to meet NFT studios. Leandra's been very good to me. They've been very good to me. And just, it's been a good process. Yeah, it's been fun.
And with Ruragachi, I know a lot of people again probably know the project already, but there was an aspect of at one point, physical toy creation.
Yeah.
With Cards of Culture, which we'll get to in a little bit, I'm curious the same thing. Has it been important for you to maintain that kind of touch with physical arts? And do you see yourself, kind of keeping that as
Yeah.
a real center of what you're doing, both kind of in the digital sense and outside of NFTs?
Yeah, yeah. I see myself still always doing physical art in some capacity, just because it's so fun, and it does get you outside, out into if I'm painting a mural, I'm in someone's business, out and about, and it gets me out of the office.
Hmm.
And it's a different lane. It's a whole different group of people. So yeah, I will always make physical fine art in some capacity, definitely. I think it's still, and I've got connections in the art world that I've built up over the years that, I wouldn't, there's no point in me just stopping. It's still
Hmm.
very valuable. Yeah, the physical art space is still still has a lot of value, in my opinion.
That's an interesting thought, though, too. You were talking about leveraging your connections that you've built up. Um, one thing, again, going back to like kind of the entry point, we used to talk a lot about gatekeeping or kind of barriers to entry being imposed through the art
Mhm.
world.
Yeah, oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah.
did you find that similarly, or is this something that you feel like the blockchain helps to alleviate, or maybe does it create new gates or new boundaries that you're trying
Mm.
to blast through?
Uh, yeah, the art world, it's definitely opened up a lot because of social media and um, yeah, all these different ways that artists can reach people themselves. Like I can reach my audience directly now.
Yeah,
Whereas before that, you did have to really go through gatekeepers, for the big galleries, and basically you had to be kind of selected by them, and if you weren't, then you couldn't really go anywhere with it. But it is slowly opening up. I mean, the traditional art world is very much like a club, and it is still hard to break into. Um, I was lucky to meet a gallery that was up and coming in New Zealand. It is limited. Like there is only a certain amount of galleries, and luckily there was a new one opening up, and they took me on. I went and met them, and they took me on, and we just developed a relationship from there. And I've been lucky that they've been very good at what they do, and they're slowly acquiring a email list, a clientele. But it is a slow process. It is a very slow process, and it is hard to get into the art worlds for sure. The NFT space and the digital art world, I guess maybe there is a similar situation going on. Um, you see some projects just blowing up and some not. I don't know whether that's because they have money or the right connections. I mean, it could be a similar situation there as well.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I mean, money, and
mm.
those connections that is
Yeah,
probably always going to be a factor,
exactly. Yeah.
right? Kind of wherever you go, whatever
Mm,
that money is, whatever that currency is, right? Doesn't matter if
mhm.
it's crypto or
Yeah,
fiat,
exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, but how do you find that this gallery, and this is the gallery Lim?
Yeah, Limb Gallery.
that
Yeah.
uh, has highlighted some of your works here.
Hmm.
How have they responded to you being involved in NFTs?
They support it. They support anything. They support artists
Yeah,
doing, doing anything that they want to or that they can to make art a possibility for them. Yeah, they support it. They support it 100%. Yeah.
that's good. All right, that's
Mm.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not like, oh, you shouldn't go into this lane because we only want you to do this. It's not like that. No.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um, well, so then I think your latest project that I'm aware of is Cards of Culture.
Hmm.
This is something that I've found very interesting. Being from Barragachi community, I think that was the first time I ever encountered your work,
Hmm.
and you know, I really enjoy your artistic aesthetic. I certainly collected a lot of
Thank you.
Barragachi, um,
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
so full
Mhm.
disclosure. But
Yeah.
what I appreciated with Cards of Culture was that uh, it's cards, and I'm really into collecting in general.
Hmm.
We have a huge like Pokemon
Mm.
contingency within the whale community.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my entry to NFTs was actually selling unopened packs of Magic the Gathering cards. So it's always something that's going to be really appealing to me.
Hmm.
And I'd be curious to know how it is that you got focused on this idea of cards, to represent
Mm.
the culture here.
Hmm. Mm. Okay, so cards. What I wanted to do was I wanted to, because I've already got fine art, and that's like at the very high end. That's very expensive, and I wanted to make something that was much more easier for people to get into. Um, and I chose cards as that thing. Because cards to me they have a massive potential to create like a good emotion. You can open packs. It's really fun. They could still potentially be worth a lot of money, but I can make loads and loads of them, and I can offer them at a much lower price point, and but still be giving something really really cool to people. Yeah, and that was the initial idea for that, and then I started working on Cards of Culture.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and this is Cards of Culture here on the Buildtree site, and you know, it's a meme card company, which I'd be very
Yeah.
curious to hear you talk a
Right.
little bit more about
Yeah. 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 So I mean,
what your
Cards of Culture
intentions
is
are. Yeah.
it is a rolling concept. So I'm putting it out there, and I'm changing it as I go, as people give me input, as I come up with new ideas. It's very much I very much want it to be a community driven project. So if someone from the community comes up with an idea, I want to take that on board, and I want it to be very dynamic and able to flow and grow as the demands and as the ideas come in. So the meme card idea just that came up this week. I was like, well, it is about memes, so wouldn't it be awesome to brand it as the first ever meme card company? And
Hmm.
yeah, so that's what I've decided to go with as the branding angle.
Okay. And
Mhm.
do you ever have intention of doing a physical release with this?
That is possible. I mean, that is
Yeah.
possible. Yeah, that would be awesome to eventually make a physical card game, and have that, as a product that we offer. That's definitely something we could do. I want to make a digital game probably first, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
see where it leads. Yeah,
is that something, is the digital game something that you're working with Buildtree on?
it's just the concept at this
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, yeah. It's just a concept. I'm still. I mean, I made concept art so I can show people and say, this is my vision. This is what, this is what we could do if the community gets large enough and if there's a demand for it and if the right people come along. Yeah. So it's a concept that it's a vision and a concept at this point.
All right.
Mm.
So I was just trying to get you to spill a little alpha if it was possible, but
Yeah.
so how has your experience been working with Buildtree?
Oh yeah, it's been great, man. Yeah.
Have you been able to get all the tools and support you need? Are there things that they've created specifically for you, or do you feel like you have that open line of communication?
Yeah, absolutely. They've been really really helpful to me, really good to me. They've they helped me through the whole process of creating it, and then they did some custom code so I could have packs, because originally the platform it didn't enable me to have a pack to open. You had to just purchase, but you would have had to just purchase the card. So they did that for me, just specifically just for this project. So now you can open a pack and it'll pop open, and then you'll get the cards separately. So you can open one pack and get three separate NFTs. So they did that for me.
Well, and I was still trying to see if I could actually get these to mint, but I'm having this weird problem where it's trying to get me to spend ETH on the EVM network on Flow, which shouldn't be the case. So I'm unfortunately not able to mint anything here. But where could I go to see some of these cards minted on the blockchain?
At the moment, you have to just see them in your own
In the Buildtree.
Yeah, in the Buildtree.
Yeah.
That's the only place you can see them minted at the moment. Hopefully, we will be able to get onto a secondary market like Floaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, should be able to see them there. But I'm still in the process of working on that.
So maybe along those lines, what made you get to the Flow network? Why did you choose Flow?
Flow were I like them because they're up and coming. They're secure. It's a very secure network. They got a lot of other big brands, NFT brands. They got Top Shot, Dr. Zeus, Disney, a bunch of really really big brands. So I like that, and and the fact that they were kind of a bit more up and coming. I wanted to be on something that was kind of on the come up.
Yeah. And had you used Flow very much yourself? Like, are you involved in any of these like Disney Dapper type projects?
I'd seen it and I'd been looking at it, but I hadn't been involved with it in any kind of way like that. No.
Yeah.
They also offered us to be part of their reward program, so some of the cards of culture are on their the Flow reward system.
Oh, really?
So I was able to meet up with the Flow team and organize that, which was another major bonus for going with Flow.
Yeah, they seem to be very involved. In my experience, really involved with the people who are building on their ecosystem. They're obviously very like OG people themselves. Some of their developers are the ones kind of responsible for the ERC 721, standard being created, right? So, it's a very interesting ecosystem to watch. And what I really enjoy about them is that super low barrier of entry for retail. It seems like, and I'm not really demonstrating it well here because I'm trying to do this Flow EVM for the very first time, and that's very new, right?
It is.
The Flow blockchain originally did not operate on the same sort of EVM or Ethereum virtual machine, right? As we see on mainnets or these L2s. So
exactly.
It is cool that you're being able to use this EVM, and I apologize that I can't do a live minting here, but
That's right.
in the good and evil dichotomy here, though, I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about that and how, you see these memes, a lot of which I think are immediately kind of identifiable to us,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
What will in your mind in this game that you're kind of conceiving of now, what's the real play here between good and evil, and do they ever work
yeah.
together, or is it always against each other?
No, no, yeah, 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 yeah. So good and evil. It's the concept of that is you can either wreck your opponent or build your bag up to a certain point. So
Okay.
the game will be a 1v1, and it'll be you're trying to pump your bag while, or either pump your bag to a quicker than the other person to a certain score, or wreck them before you. So you'll use the evil cards to wreck them. So you'll do like play a rug pull card, whatever Harry Hacker card, whatever, to try and wreck their bag. And meanwhile, you'll be able to play other cards to try and pump your bags, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah, yeah. I've
sounds.
still got to work out like the more specific details of the game, but I have a really really cool concept that I think is pretty original and unique, and it really kind of characterizes and kind of personifies like all these crazy things that are happening in the Web3 space and the meme space and internet culture and culture at large, into how it affects the markets in a characterized, funny, fun way.
um yeah, I think that it's such an interesting thing. The culture that we're all involved in, this idea of
Mm-hmm.
getting wrecked,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's something that a lot of people go through. It's almost inevitable, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we're still at that point, and sometimes it happens through nefarious means, right? Scammers,
Oh yeah. A
um,
lot of
or
times. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
rugmen, right? But
Exactly. Yeah.
there's also things just like you know, paper hands here, Johnny Paperboy. Like
Mm-hmm.
is this idea that we get scared or something, and it causes us to sell off. At the same time, some of these things like God candles, maybe that's actually a bad thing in disguise. Sometimes you have to wonder if that
Yeah.
you know gets people
Yeah.
thinking in a way that makes them question their conviction. But I know there's also these extensions of it where people, my experience in meme coin trading circles was that people would often uh, be trying to wreck another person in a weird way. But
Mm-hmm.
did you ever get far into meme coins themselves? Did you have an experience of that?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a bunch of meme coins. I was actually working on a meme coin late last year. I was doing all the socials for it, the branding and the socials on a
Hmm.
meme coin called Poopy on Base. So that gave me a really good insight into memeing, and because I was coming up with a meme every day, like trying to relate the coin to a meme,
Yeah.
and just so I was doing that every day. So I was like really immersed in that meming world, meme coin world, from about mid year last year to the end of last year. So that would have definitely influenced me a lot when it comes to culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say there was anything notable that kind of surprised you about being involved in that meme world? The interactions you have with people, or their expectations of you?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you just got to basically come up with comedy every day, and the the cool thing about it is it's like just how the more funny you can be and more like outrageous you can be, the more likely you are to pump your coin.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the craziest thing about it was like changing my mindset to like I've just got to be like as ridiculous and silly and like as just as weird as possible on it's such a weird strange world, that you kind of just get used to after a while, but at first you're like, how is this a job?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, do you find yourself done looking at the real world, or I shouldn't say the real world, your life outside of NFTs and crypto? Do you think that your experience now has, whether it's in this kind of meme circle and delving in and diving into that,
Yeah.
or your NFTs and crypto experience in general, do you find that that's like changed how you're viewing your life around you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely changed my life. I mean, just because of the people I've met, I've been able to make friends all over the world and just have fun doing this, being part of this cool culture. And that way, it's amazing. Yeah.
Um, well, I got some help. Let's see here. I'm going to try this again. Maybe we'll be successful. You
Oh
know,
no.
see if there's a chance that maybe I
Yeah,
can
that'd be
do a
good.
live minting here.
Mhm.
Doing a hard refresh. So I checked that I got the RPC and everything set up, but here just so everybody uh, gets an idea. I guess I can't share the signing part of it, but yeah, it's still asking me to have ETH on my
Mhm.
Flow network. So guess we'll give up on that at least for the time being. But I'm going to also ask a few questions from the community, by the way, Jimmy.
Yeah, sure.
We've one of the great things about Whale is that we have a Discord server where this is being shown live. We're also going on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, but the community always has some questions that they want to know. A lot of artists themselves. So one question was, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is your experience with other chains? You've clearly done stuff on mainnet Ethereum and now Flow. Um,
Mhm.
have you experimented with other chains, and what's kind of your takeaway?
Other than Flow and Ethereum, those have been the ones that I've been working on um, mainly. So I don't. A base was the last project I was mentioning. I was working on a meme coin. That was base that coin was on is on, and that's really good. Base is really good. Um, ETH obviously it's just expensive, and slower.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean it's really there's so many choices now. It's like spoiled for choice. Yeah.
it's
How do you do it?
is it appealing to you to be on mainnet?
On Ethereum?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, it's got a huge, it's massive. It's a massive chain. So there's that. Um, but then it's slower and expensive and it's kind of, it's older. I prefer to be on something that's kind of newer and something that presents new opportunities. So if you can find something that's kind of like, oh, I like this chain, what they're doing. You're probably going to have more of a chance of being able to meet with their team if it's smaller, or you're going to be able
yeah,
to embed yourself in their network a lot easier, which is kind of my thinking with Flow. Like eventually I want to be one of their main big brands and kind of float up with them, as their chain grows. I want to be part of that growth. Um, so if you can kind of find something like that where you can be lifted up with the growth of another chain, I think I mean, that's my strategy at the moment.
yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, I just start laughing. I think this is like such a perfect way to utilize your artwork
Right,
here for
right, right.
Rugman,
Yeah. So
the
recently, I've been coming up with just like ideas of content basically, and my most recent idea is find different events that are happening in different communities on different charts and highlight it using characters from Cards of Culture
yeah,
to see if I can kind of embed those characters with those events and get people to start referring to them as like, oh, the Rugman showed up would be ideal. Like if I could get people to start whenever a rug pull happens, oh, Rugman showed up, and have that character like be at the forefront. That would be an ideal situation. So that's kind of my thinking there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Uh, it's cool. I appreciate that that you're doing that, because I think it also it's funny because some of the memes that we see, I think they're very easily, we're all coming to this from different global perspectives, socioeconomic perspectives. Uh, there's no end to it, right? But at the same time, these memes can uh, create this universal way of interacting and interpreting what's going on.
Mm.
But even then, sometimes it's like not. I feel like some memes are like taken differently, or even just the pronunciation of things. I think we find changing around. Has there been a meme that you've found that I'd be curious, do you find people being like, oh, well, I thought that meant that, or um,
Mm.
something different?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, the meme that I've been working on the most is like with the meme coin that I was working on was just a lot of making fun of bears, which
Yeah,
I mean that's a lot of fun. Like you just get to kind of like show these bears, like literal pictures of bears in all these different situations, like just getting friggin' wrecked or whatever. One was like a bear getting a tattoo of a dick on his back. One was bears getting shot out of a helicopter, like all this crazy stuff. That was probably my
yeah.
favorite yeah, meme.
Um,
Mm.
are there dogs? I see some cats. Are there dogs?
No, but I'm not yet. But I mean, I want to. Obviously, this is just the initial release, and my initial plan with this is to, yeah, and also make fun of things. Like it's almost a way to like snap back at things that we think are unjust or bullshit.
Yeah,
It's almost like a poke back at that with some of these cards, poke back at things going on that we don't like.
yeah.
Um, sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
No, no, it's I think, yeah, memes start becoming kind of a language in their own. I'm kind of a,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
yeah.
It's almost like a form of warfare, meme wars.
Hmm. Yeah,
But yeah, it is a language. It is a language. Art is communication. Music is a language. Art is a visual language. Yeah, memes are
yeah.
just another form of communicating emotion, really.
And so how about this kind of point system here? I know you talked about like
Yeah, the points
pumping
the
your
point
bags,
system.
blowing up your bags, et
Yeah,
cetera,
yeah,
et
yeah.
cetera. But
The point
we
system
see
is meant to just
Lambos.
yeah, totally, man. The point system is meant to just be like funny and outrageous,
Okay.
and it won't make sense all of the time, and it's gonna need some balancing. um, but yeah, it's meant to just be like absurd,
Yeah, yeah.
like absurdly
Uh,
large numbers. Because when I do eventually get to build a game, it'll be just like crazy and like random shit will happen, and people will be like, well, that doesn't even make sense. But that's kind of what I'm going for with it, just like random absurd things happening,
yeah.
just to make it fun and make it a reflection of the Web3 space.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the absurdity is right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Whimsy, things happening overnight that you have no
Yeah.
anticipation of. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
blind rage. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we get a lot of that combined with Euphoria. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how that goes. And have you started working with any game designers, or is that something you've explored yet?
No, other than just brainstorming myself and sharing that with people. Um, I'm hoping to find the right people. I'm hoping that as I grow the community, I will come across the right pieces, and that's happened so far. Like the right people just seem to come along at the right time. And when it comes time to actually make a game, I'm hoping that Well, I know that the right people will be there. You know, the right people will come along. They always do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like you've built your career as an artist over a long period of time. You've got a lot of different experiences. Um,
Mm.
and I know that my experience with the folks at NFT Studios and Buildtree right now has been extremely positive. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that you're there
Hmm.
and working with them. So I do think it's important, right? Just like with the memes that we see, the reality of crypto culture here, who it
Mm.
is that we're spending our time with, right? Who's actually
Yeah, so important.
surrounding us, supporting
Mm.
us,
Mm.
you know, showing us the ropes because those ropes can be
Mm.
good or bad, right?
Hmm. Yeah, totally.
Uh,
Oh, definitely.
yeah. Um, have there been any other communities that you found, along the way that you've really tapped into?
I'm a huge fan of a kid called Beast, and I've tapped into that community. I've taken I don't know if you know them, but they're another
Yeah, just
NFT.
vaguely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. They're kind of, yeah. They're like a toy design inspired hype kind of culture. It's all these things put into one. It's a really really cool project. So I've been following them, getting inspiration from them a lot. Obviously, Pudgy Penguins as well. Those guys
yeah,
have done incredible, like, man, amazing. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so those are the main two that I've been following. Yeah, and then there's obviously the OG ones, Crypto Kitties, etc.
yeah. I like the
Mm.
CryptoKitty
Mhm.
card. That's a great
Yeah.
card. We have Rude Moose. She's one of our whale OG members. She's been along with CryptoKitties ever since they started. So that's
Hmm.
always good to see some CryptoKitty action. She gave me my first CryptoKitty. I'll
Oh,
always
nice.
remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some other questions that came in from the whale community. Uh, some interesting ones here. We talked a little bit about collectors earlier, but I'd be curious, maybe from your perspective, both as a physical and digital artist now, you know, how has your relationship with collectors changed, is what they were first asking. And has that
Mm.
actually impacted your creative work or your creative process?
Yeah, yeah, man. My favorite things about Web3 is it's so community orientated, and you get to actually talk with people, talk with your collectors on a daily basis, and just get that feedback instantly. Where you don't really get that as much in the traditional art world, it's way harder to really communicate with your collectors because you don't have a chat group where you can all chat in. But in Web3, it's like you get to just work with them, talk to them every day if you wanted to. So yeah, that's been amazing. That's what I really love about Web3 is that community. You get to actually feel a part of something, and everyone gets to benefit. You know, if one
Mm.
person does well in that community, promotes that thing that you're working on, then everyone else benefits. It's like it's such a nice collaborative environment.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
I guess, kind of that rising tide lifts all
Mm.
ships,
Yeah, yeah.
but I agree that that ability just to actually, I think I was telling you before the show started, we were just getting acquainted. A big draw for me coming into the NFT space was to just have those connections again with artists.
Hmm.
Especially during
Mm.
the beginning of the pandemic when so many people did enter, including myself. Trying to find those connections was one thing, but then to actually um, experience that, I've made a career in various art, primarily music, but I think a lot of
Mm.
people never had that experience before,
Mm.
so to actually be able to be a collector and talk to you,
Mm.
directly, I think it's a magical experience that I hope
Yeah,
people
yeah,
don't take for granted. It's
yeah,
also
yeah. Absolutely.
right. It's a great
Yeah.
thing. So let's see here. Oh, another collector question. How do you see one of ones versus editions?
How do I see one of ones versus? Hmm. Well, one of ones kind of remind me of traditional art because you really can only make one original piece. So that's kind of like that, and then digital gives you that ability to choose. Um, but in terms, and how do you mean like?
Well, so like I guess with Cards of Culture, Rare Gotchi, these particular projects,
Mm,
are how many of one particular card or a Rare Gotchi would have existed, and is that something that I guess would have uh, informed, you know, how you created that? Maybe around this idea of scarcity, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
really important. Like, do you see that as being essential? Obviously, there's a cap number
yeah,
of the cards of culture available, right? So
yeah,
once we're 17.2% or
mm,
0.02% minted, right?
yeah.
136 out of 799.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe you can just clarify, these are packs, right? And we're looking at 799 card packs, 3 cards per
Yeah,
pack.
packs. Yeah,
So, you know, what what is the kind of rarity scheme here? Is that something that's really important to you? The
yeah, yeah,
scarcity, really?
yeah. Absolutely, man. I mean, scarcity. It's all relative, to the demand. So
Hmm.
you want to pick a, you want to have, you always want to have a little less available than the demand, ideally, just to create that desirability, in my opinion. But it depends on how much emphasis you want to put on one particular, like in this situation, do we want to, like, how rare do we want to make one card versus how available do we want to make it? It is really a fine balance, and it's a situational thing that you have to choose, specific to your situation. um, with my project, it's new. I'm still building the community, so I wanted to go with a lower number, so
No,
it gave it that more. It was, it was relative to the demand. Relative to the demand. Yeah.
that's smart
Mm,
smart approach. I think that's
mm,
something we talk about a lot on Whale when we get this, because this question comes up a lot in a lot of different
mm,
contexts, right?
mhm.
And being able to understand what the demand is, who your
Yeah.
audience is,
Mm,
also having a very clear idea of what you're trying to achieve, right?
mm,
These are very important things. So you're
mm.
obviously thinking about that. So that's interesting. And then another person had asked, let's see, your many artists are now creating dynamic NFTs that evolve over time or based on external inputs. Have you ever explored this concept, or do you see potential in your work to experiment with more interactive, evolving art forms?
Yeah, I have seen that, and I think that is a really cool idea. I'm not sure how I would do that with cards of culture, as in like a card that kind of like it slowly like like you buy it and then like over a year it changes or something like that. I mean, that is really cool. I haven't actually thought of a good use case for that yet, but if I do, I mean, I'll definitely use it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm, mm,
yeah. I don't know either. I guess maybe the cards themselves seem kind of fixed, but I also
mm,
wouldn't want to like impose any sort of limit on myself.
mm.
If maybe memes do change, or obviously how people use memes, or maybe the re-memification of things. Once you have
Yeah.
that general concept of it, how it evolves and kind of adapts to that language part we were talking about. I'm not sure, but yeah, it is certainly interesting. But
Mm,
uh, let's see here, and I think I got one more. I'm going to put out a question, ask for any more questions from the community. But one person just wanted to know more about how you thought about working with Buildtree. Are there any tools of theirs that you're looking forward to using on your next project?
Buildtree, yeah, it's a really intuitive platform. It's really easy to use. It's good. As for what they're going to release, I'm not sure what they're bringing out, so I don't know what they're planning on doing. But I'm sure whatever they are going to do is going to make it even more, even better for the artist.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and so it sounds like you're primarily just focused on cards of culture right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't really have
Mm.
anything else in the pipeline, but uh, is there a dream project? This is my question, following off of that one. Is there a dream
Mm.
project that you have in mind that either you don't see the blockchain having the capability to execute for you yet, or just something that you're looking forward to when the time is right?
What I would love to do is, I don't know if you've seen like the show. It's called Amazing Race, and these
Yeah,
people like go around the world. Yeah, yeah. I would love to do something like that where I take I take an artifact and I like put it or them in different locations around the world and run an event where people have to have clues and they have to like go and find it. Maybe it's an NFT and you scan it when you get there or something
yeah.
like that, or it's in that location somehow. Maybe it's I don't know, something like that would be really cool. I would love to do something like that. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So and maybe that brings up another question for me is, have you used NFTs as like provenance or linked to your physical works yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't. But that
Hmm.
is that is a something something cool you could do with them.
Yeah,
But
because
no,
you
I
basically
haven't.
made me think of like geocache, like scavenger
Right.
hunts, right? Like
Yeah,
uh,
or like Pokemon Go type thing.
for sure.
Oh, yeah, or something that kind of, because art kind of, I wanted to have that almost like that treasure vibe, like it's that valuable thing that you've come across, and making it like an actual global treasure hunt would be awesome. Something like that would be
Yeah,
cool. That would be like a
yeah,
dream project, doing something like that, or doing like a huge statue sculpture, something like that would be awesome. That's not really NFT, but that's another art thing that I would love to do. Huge murals is something else that I'm interested in doing. Painting just like a 9-story building, something like that is something that I'm slowly working my way into. Like I'm getting into painting murals, painting walls, so I want to just go as big as I can with that. Um, yeah, it's just exploring anything that the blockchain unlocks. I mean, there's just so much potential. I feel like we're only just scratching the surface with this
yeah.
Web3 blockchain technology, and it's really your imagination is the only limit.
No, I mean,
That's what I'm trying to
well,
push that with cards of culture. I'm trying to push
yeah,
the boundaries of what I can imagine being possible on there.
no, I mean, your imagination does seem really vast here. Just, the content itself, of Rarigachi just is kind of wild out there.
Mm,
Um, Big variance. Your cards of culture memes, you're spinning these memes that most people know, right? And can identify with. You're trying to create a different way of looking at them and reposition them, like you said, kind of
mm,
to even create like its own language and make people refer to
mm,
them. You're looking at this digital art, which is very easily seen on like a phone screen or a laptop, but then talking about wanting to paint the side of a building. Um,
mm, mm,
you know,
mm, mm.
uh, would you be able to sum that up? What's your approach to like, why do you create art? Or.
Why do I create art, man? I mean, imagine a world without art. I mean, we got to have art.
Yeah,
It's just the vibe, the feeling. It's just it just feels so good, you know.
Hmm.
It's hard to put into words why we make art, but I mean, and it's important that we make art, you know. Otherwise, I mean, the world, I can't imagine what the world would be like if no one made art, if no one kind of put themselves out there and invented things and, you know, like created things. Imagine a world without musicians. Like somebody's got to make it. Otherwise, you know, it's just, I mean, it's going to be pretty bland without it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
I feel very much the same way. So it's always great to uh, meet people like yourself who are,
Yeah.
you know, looking at this in such
Mm.
a, um, you know, I want to say opportunistic, and that obviously I think has a bad connotation sometimes. But it seems like you're seeing this as a not only a new outlet for your work, but you know, reaching new audiences.
Oh yeah. It's
You know,
totally just like unchain your imagination. The possibilities have just opened up. Like, I mean, it's endless what we can do now.
yeah,
It's really just your imagination that's the only limit. You can come up with the craziest things, and the blockchain really facilitates that. The community is here for it. The wilder the idea, I feel like the more people are going to be like, oh, you know, that's interesting. People are
yeah,
gonna, yeah. So
yeah.
now's the time to really just like play with it. You know, have play with it, and just be getting that mindset that you were as a kid when you were playing with Lego, and you know, just be as creative as possible, because that's what it's there for. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's, you know, that's something at Whale, like we believe strongly in empowering the artists through blockchain innovation, right? And, you know, I think
Mm.
just like you're talking about, what can we do to uplift and to inspire, to, you know, really push the boundaries here of what all this
Mm.
means. And like, it's again, it's just great to meet someone like yourself who ends up being very excited by this and inspired to do new things. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
you know,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, it's really great to have you here and kind of kick off this series with Buildtree. But you know, I will figure out on my end how to actually get my
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Flow wallet to do what it's supposed to
I'll
do.
give you some anyway. If you
Uh,
can't get it to work, I'll send you some packs.
oh no, I mean, well, you know, the real stupid thing here is that you were so
Mm.
nice to offer to Raragachi holders initially some free mints,
Mm.
and I just couldn't take advantage of that. So, you know, I've been kicking myself over that, and now I'm like,
Mm.
you know, just kind of like
Yeah.
at that point of frustration. You know, I'm sure there's a meme card here somewhere for it, but it's, you know, that
Yeah.
point
Maybe we
where
need to make
you're
one. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know that something's possible here on the blockchain, and like you're like, all right, it's just that one little thing, and chances are it's something I'm doing wrong, or you know, like a
Wow.
checkbox on my end, right?
Yeah.
But that's also just kind of where we are still in crypto. So, you know,
Yeah.
we're all still on this journey together, you know.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so so yeah, it's really great to meet you, and just, you know, I'll post these links again in our
Thank you,
Discord,
Moses.
but tell people
Yeah.
who are watching, you know, how they can find you and find Cards of Culture.
Yeah. Yeah. So everyone's totally welcome to join Cards of Culture. We want people who are genuinely interested in the project. I want to make friends with those people. Reach out to me. Yeah, just on X, on Cards of Culture is the easiest way, and then yeah, either flick me a message on there, and I'll invite you. I'll send you the link to the community. On Discord, it's Cards of Culture as well. Yeah, other than that, Instagram, Jimi Grins is my fine artist handle. But I think X is the easiest way, just Cards of Culture on X.
Good. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Mm.
posted those links in the Whale Discord, and you know, thanks to everybody who was able to tune in and ask some great questions, and thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank
Really,
you so much.
it's been really wonderful
Yeah.
to kind of get to know you a little bit more, and you know, your art,
Likewise.
of course, but also Cards of Culture. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you to the whale community. Yeah,
yeah.
awesome, man.
All right.
No,
All right.
I'm lucky to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're welcome anytime in Whale, man. You know, like I said, we've got a lot of people who really love your art, and you know, you're exactly the type of person that we like to support,
Mm,
and just kind of give a little spotlight to, because you're actually creating here, you're using those tools,
right. Mm,
and you know, you're part of the
hmm.
culture yourself, a card in the
Yeah,
making.
man.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, have a good rest of your day, and thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next episode of Whale and Buildtree Artlist Spotlights.
Peace.
See you, Jimmy.